Jacob McGarrett, 6 Sheridan in Roselle Park. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, viewing audience, members of the board, Mrs. Garcia, Mr. Guarrido, and President Parks. Good evening.
Good evening.
Is this what I'm reading true? Item 3, staff retirement? This is only
So young.
one.
I don't know.
I
So
wish.
young.
So there's going to be a change on this board? And there are 3 new board members. Perhaps professional people, contractors, usual, change all those people, make a big sweep, clean sweep.
Get rid of us all?
Say what?
Get rid of us all? Is that what you're saying? Are you to get rid of us all? Is that what you're saying,
Not
Mother?
all, not all.
Oh, okay.
You.
You. I got it.
That's all. Yeah, I fired the council, and they came back though. What can you do? And Mrs. Garcia, I would personally, publicly announce, we're gonna miss you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gier. I'm going to miss the school district as well.
Well, you're gonna be here till July 1.
That is correct.
Why don't you take an earlier leave
You want me to leave earlier?
And why aren't the new candidates here tonight?
January. It's January. First meeting in January. It's our contract.
You're gonna have a fanfare party or something?
No.
Oh, you know, it's always nice when you get the new broom sweeps clean.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm sorry.
Sure.
And I forgot, with the 3 young people, Donnelly, Shaw, and the other young person. I forgot.
Triviano.
But anyway, I'm sure you're gonna mention it and bring it back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Soul Cares in 150 Berwyn Street. For agenda item 3A. So my understanding was that the contract was, or the end of the school year is June 30th.
Correct.
So just wondering why just July 1st? Is it, I don't know why, so I'm asking.
The retirement is effective July 1st. I will be working up until June 30th.
June 30th, thank you.
Full day.
Is it a Friday?
With overtime.
Agenda item 6. Michelle Howell, I guess that Chess Club advisor, I guess that's in response to a request from,
It's
I'm sorry,
from a
6B.
response from the school administration.
Gotcha, thank you. Agenda item 18. Just wondering why it's December and we're only approving August 31st, the treasurer's report.
Always, and I think you've asked this question other years, Mr. Kirsten, always gets a little behind schedule due to the audit that occurs over the summer and finalizing their report. So there is a little lag time. We just sent out today the report to the treasurer for the next month, the month of September. Unfortunately, you may not see that until January, depending on our meeting schedule. But my point is, we should be catching up and get on schedule in the next month or two.
Thank you. And just so this is the only meeting for the month.
That is
No.
going to be discussed
Okay.
this evening, I believe.
Because it
So
just
sorry,
said-
Mr. Harms.
It will be discussed later on.
Because it did say the
New
next
business,
Right, it said the next special meeting is.
if necessary.
No, it actually says January 8th,
Uh,
2019. That's why I asked.
But, yeah, well, we
Good to
usually,
know.
we normally would discuss it if there's any business that we think might come up.
Okay,
If there's not, then we take a vote to see if we want it or not.
thank you very much.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. This time we'll go into committee reports. Any committee reports?
Mr. President, I have a brief report.
Sure.
The Sherman PTA met on November 29th at 7 p.m. in the Sherman cafeteria. Approximately 2 dozen parents were in attendance. I was attending as board liaison and was impressed with the goings-on. Our fundraising continues. They've had about 15 fundraisers since the year began, including a 50-50 selling mums, selling pretzels, kid stuff books, Yankee Candles, Ashley Farms, Shopperoos, Amazon Smile, and a bake sale. They've raised over $5,000 this year. They have a few more planned between now and the end of January. I had a couple of social events, including a movie night, walkathon, observed National Walk to School Day, National Custodians Day, and a few others. They're planning kindergarten cookies with Santa, a warm-up day, and of course, holiday parties in class on December 21st. Mrs. Lechner was also in attendance. She gave a brief report about events at the school. I know she addressed the November 20th meeting, so she probably said a lot of the same things there as at the board meeting. Talked about reforming the student council to be a council of character and creating peaceful playgrounds in the schoolyard. One exciting bit of news I learned is that the new water fountain with bottle filler has been delivered and will be installed soon. Next meeting for the Sherman PTA is January 17th. That ends my report.
Thank you. Any other committee reports?
Mr. President, I just have something real quick from the Roselle Park High School. So next Wednesday is our winter concert. It's going to be held right here in the auditorium. It's on December 12th. There'll be 2 50-50 drawings, I believe, that night from the marching band as well as the PTA. So I encourage the community to come out, join us, sing along with our students, and share in the winter holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll move on to the principal's report. Pastor?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the high school. Did you take a walk? Did you look around? Okay. Well, I just wanted to give a brief report, but I did write something up this month, which a couple times I forget. So I just wanted to, I was a little overwhelmed the last couple of days with some really great things that happened at the high school. So I just want to let you know, this is my 13th year as the principal of Roselle Park High School, and I just love this school. And it's truly a special, special place, and I don't tell people this enough. So I wanted to share with you tonight some of the obvious reasons, which I'm sure that you all know about why Roselle Park High School is such a great place, but also some of the less obvious. So let me start with some of the obvious things. This year we added 2 additional AP classes. Last year we added 2 as well. This year we added AP Computer Science, A, and AP Human Geography to an already extensive list of AP classes for a high school our size. We are now, I'm almost positive, the smallest high school in Union County. Additionally, our high school AP scores last year were nothing short of incredible. We had 10 AP scholars, which is students who take at least 3 AP tests and score an average of 3 or higher on all of them, a score of 3 or higher. And we had 1 national AP scholar who took 8 AP tests and scored a perfect 5 on all 8. We have a newly renovated media center that opened in February. Can you believe at this time last year we did not have a media center? It feels like we've had it forever, and I love it. And our students love it. It is a wonderful, positive hub, not only for our high school, but now we have started We did a pilot program, first marking period, where we invited one elementary school to come and visit our makerspace, and we have a class that is teaching in the makerspace of students that are teaching students. And now this semester, this marking period, we've extended it to all of the elementary schools. We have the new STEAM wing opening in January. We have a newly redesigned PE schedule that, I don't know if all of you know, it has increased participation dramatically. We used to have 7, 10, when I first started, 15 students that would not participate per class. We have 0 to 1 now. Everyone participates in phys ed. And we have watched through our SGOs our student fitness levels increasing. And we are planning to continue to improve upon that, hopefully adding a weight room in the near future. We have a wide range of electives classes. We have a student population in which 137, so about 1/5 of our high school, arrives at school before 7:15 daily. So they have 9 classes instead of 8. And we have the seasonal sports acknowledgments of our students and the quarterly breakfast for our honor students. So that's some of the stuff that you know about. But let me tell you some of the things that you don't know about. We're small enough that when I asked 7 students today who were seniors if they knew the names of everybody in their class, all 7 said yes. We're small enough that we have a club fair in September in which every club stands in the library and students go around. We're so small that my assistant principal, Ellen, was able to talk to each freshman on the way in and say, you will sign up for at least one club. And on the way out, find out which club they signed up for, and she asked why. We have a garden club that has created a beautiful courtyard and now a flower patch outside the cafeteria. We haven't paid for it. The advisor goes to local garden centers and gets the mulch and the plants herself. We have college visits that we just started doing more regularly because we realized when we polled the students that the majority of the parents of our students have told them they will not take them to visit a college. So we've planned 3 college trips this year, everywhere from Princeton to TC&J, to all different schools around New Jersey. We have a UC STEP program this year that we're involved in with the county. It takes 10 leading sophomores and junior student leaders, and it's coming up this Friday, and the topic is teen suicide. One of my staff members gave a tour to the class of 1968 on a really cold Friday night in October after school hours, just because she wanted to reconnect with them, and they gave us $2,000 towards the STEAM wing. I don't know if you know, but the weekend before Thanksgiving, 2 of my staff members went with a group of, Natalie, how many people went to Crisis Center? 16 students overnight on the weekend in the snow. That's the weekend it snowed. On a Crisis Center retreat. It's a weekend training retreat with the teacher and the social worker to hone their peer counseling skills. We have multiple students on bed rest, on home out with mental illness situations, and we have staff members that go above and beyond by dropping student work off at the homes because the parent has no car to pick it up, or even going to the inpatient care center because they get no visitors. A couple more, can't stop. We have staff members that worked out a way to give rides to chemotherapy for a student fighting cancer because he never said anything, but they found out that his mom was ordering him an Uber and he was going to chemotherapy by himself. So they worked out a way to get him there. Just imagine last week the pep rally for Powder Puff. It was a gym full of students, all cheering on their peers in relay races, tug of war, different activities, and it was a positive enthusiasm with true park pride, even though we don't have a varsity football team this year. A PLC last year that worked to help students feel more connected to Roselle Park High School. One initiative they did was writing a birthday card to every student, and we were able to turnkey that this year to our peer leadership students in the Crisis Center who are now paying that forward, and every child receives at least a birthday card on their birthday. A lot of students in our school go forgotten on their birthdays, but not in our school, but a lot of students across New Jersey. Today, guidance counselors, as part of their PLC, visited the 9th and 12th grade health classes to teach coping skills and stress management strategies. We have multiple teachers who eat lunch in their room with multiple students each day because maybe they struggle with classwork or they have anxiety in the lunchroom. We have a small group of students that just today I was doing an observation. I just want to change this one. It was the driver's ed class. We have a multiply disabled classroom. 2 of the students from that multiply disabled classroom really wanted to take driver's ed. So they partnered up with 2 regular ed students, and it was priceless to watch them learning driver's ed, even though everyone knows they will never drive. And finally, I could go on and on. Let's start 2 more. I have a student who was told by a counselor that she was a blessing to another student because when she was in class with that girl, the girl would come to school. So the student said, I'll be in every class with that girl. So for 2 years of middle school and 4 years of high school, they have been in the exact same schedule, and that student has never missed a day because she found a partner. So I just want to tell you, Roselle Park is an amazing, amazing place. It's wonderful to be a principal here. And I want to thank the Board of Education sincerely for everything that you have done for us to make this high school just so wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so excited about that.
I definitely agree on the high school. I've had 3 children go through here, and it's gotten better and better and better each year. I have a lot of pride in Roselle Park and our schools. We do it, and this is the last, I guess, the last stop for them before they go on to college. So I'm glad they're getting all this extra tender care.
That's
I
right.
call it,
That's what they're doing.
from the teachers and the principal in the
Unless I'm
school.
yelling.
So, I hear you do that also. So, but I want to thank you for all you do for our children. I want to thank the staff that you have, that what they do for our children too. And I think everybody in Roselle Park should be proud of our high school for being as small as you say. We send a lot of people out there doing a lot of great things.
We do.
So thank you, and thank all the staff.
Mr. President, if I may.
Sure.
Ms. Costa, I'm looking forward to the ribbon cutting in January for the steam wing, first of all. That's going to be exciting. And my memory's a little fuzzy on this one, but the high school has an open house. Do we have an open house for incoming possible freshmen?
I believe it's January 18th this year.
Okay, perfect. Because if
You got to do it.
If you do like you just did, I mean, because there's a lot of other institutions out there that try to solicit our children, and this is a gem right here, and just from what you said in the past 10 minutes. So I'm looking forward to that as well as the STEAM. So thank you, Mrs. Costa.
Just stay up here for the students.
Yeah, we're looking
Come
forward
to
to
this.
it.
Because I like to talk, I have a little bit to say about each one.
Yeah,
okay.
we're just gonna move the mic, we're gonna move the
I need
mic.
your microphone now.
Yeah, sit down, that reaches over, yeah.
Okay, so I spoke a lot about I spoke a lot about the faculty of the.
Stop hitting that. What?
This is that one.
You're
That
just the one that does it.
Every board member that I come, every board meeting that I come to,
Okay,
So we
is that the
will-
one you grab and?
this one.
Okay.
Okay, I spoke a lot about the happenings at the high school, but the happenings at the high school wouldn't happen without the students that attend our high school. So we have 3 wonderful students here this evening, our Students of the Month, and it's actually the Rotary Student of the Month, and they look for people who, first of all, are dedicated to service, and then are able to go above and beyond in so many other areas. So I would first want to highlight our October Student of the Month, Caitlin Donnelly. So I have a little speech about you, Caitlin. So Caitlin, sorry, you'll have to deal with it. Caitlin is in the top 1% of her graduating class. This past May, she was inducted into the National Honor Society, and she's also a member of the French Honor Society and the Quill and Scroll Honor Society. Her choices in the classes she has taken reflect a well-rounded student who works hard and challenges herself. Since her sophomore year, Caitlin has been a dedicated member of RPTV, where a select group of students write, direct, and produce a daily TV program. It airs each morning during homeroom. She's one of those 715ers. Each year she has taken on more and more responsibilities in this RPTV class and mastered all of the technical aspects of the production. She is a proven positive role model in our senior class and in our building, and she shows enthusiasm and energy in all that she does. She has shown at Roselle Park High School that she is a person of diverse talents. She's been an integral part of our chorus program. She was selected to women's choir and is part of concert choir since freshman year. Her musical talents do not end with chorus. Bonus point to the board. Who was she last year in the musical? Come on, guys. It was Beauty and the Beast. Who do you think she was?
Beauty.
She was the beauty in Beauty and the Beast. Did I get that right? You were Belle. Right. She's also been a member of marching band, concert band, and percussion ensemble. This year she was chosen as our drum major, and she will continue to lead her band members in many competitions, town events, and ceremonies. The marching season is over, but the band is always on call. Her participation in every school musical since she's been in 9th grade, and she was Belle in the school musical this year. She's been a member of student council, actively involved, and she's been the treasurer for the last 3 years. She has even found time to volunteer by giving community service hours with her youth group and at her local church. Caitlin is an exceptional young lady, and I'm proud that you are our first student of the month for the month of October. Congratulations. I have a certificate, so you have to come up. Katie, congratulations. Well, sit down as I talk. Okay, Natalie Triviano. And the hard part about being a principal of a high school, even though it's small, is that the students that are really involved and active, I don't get to really know extremely well until it seems about senior year. And then when you really get to know them, they leave you. But Natalie is Natalie is our student of the month for November. And she is a goal-oriented young woman who possesses a strong desire to succeed and a genuine good nature. She has an impressive academic achievement. She's been involved in the Spanish National Honor Society and in the National Honor Society, where she was selected to be the public relations officer. Recently, Natalie was selected to represent Roselle Park High School at the Rotary Youth Leadership Conference at Drew University. She was also a member of the debate in town. I didn't write that in my notes, but the councilman debate. In addition to her schoolwork, Natalie balances numerous extracurricular activities. She is a member of Future Business Leaders of America, and she is involved in student council, where she served as president during her freshman year and secretary during her sophomore year, and senior and president this year, correct? No? Okay, I got that wrong. Natalie's talents stretch into the musical arts. She played the saxophone in the jazz band and the clarinet in the concert band. She's a member of chorus, women's chorus, and in past years, the district chorus. And she has participated in the musical. She's a member of the debate club and the creative writing club, where she explores her passion for writing. Natalie is a member of our crisis center and a peer leader to the students in our school. She's very active in clubs, but she's also a dedicated athlete. She participates in 2 seasons out of the year and has earned varsity letters for both soccer and track, running many events in track, from the 100 to the 200 to the 800 and even the mile. Finally, Natalie is just a selfless volunteer. She's a member of SAS. She's a member of the Gay Straight Alliance. And this one I always find impressive. She has been a Girl Scout for 13 years, and that takes dedication. So congratulations to our November Student of the Month, Natalie Padilla. I did say National Honor Society. You're in our Yes. And she's in RPTV. Another one of our 7-foot I'm sorry. And finally, our December Student of the Month, and we have one coming for each of the months. Parth has not yet had the opportunity to go to the Rotary Breakfast, but that will be coming up in the very near future. To start with, Parth, I have known, some kids I get to know a lot senior and junior year, or senior year primarily. Parth I have known since freshman year. In a wonderful way. He's always been volunteering, and he's always been one of those go-to guys. When you need somebody to volunteer to help you out, you go to Parth, because he will say yes. He's an exceptional student and has earned his seat at the top of his graduating class. He was also recognized for his outstanding achievement with membership in the National Honor Society. But Parth's talents stretch far beyond his academic abilities. And I just found this out last year from Parth, that he has been swimming for 9 years, and he swims with the Tidal Wave swim team with the Union County Boys and Girls Club, where he was recognized by the USA Swimming Association. And in the spring, he plays on our boys varsity tennis team. See, even if your school doesn't have a swim team, you can still find ways to be successful if you dedicate yourself to do that. Outside of his role as a scholar athlete, he seizes every opportunity to explore his passion in the medical field. He is an intern at the JFK Mediplex for same-day surgery, and he's a member of the Cranford Roselle Park First Aid Squad. Recently, Parth and his group took 3rd place at the state EMT cadet competition in Keyport. He's a natural-born leader who's been selected as a leader for our school, representing our student bodies since he's been a sophomore. He's an officer for FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, a board member for the Future Health Careers Club, and president of the club's annual blood drive. He's involved as the president of SAS, Students Always Showing Support, president of the Ecology Club, and an officer for Student Council. He has been involved in each of these clubs that I just mentioned for all 4 years of high school. He is dedicated to the Roselle Park community. He was selected as the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Conference, HOBie, and the Union County STEP program, which is the program I talked about previously. It's a group of 10 students that go with all other students from Union County. They find a work project or something to commit to improve, and then they work diligently to do that. Parth's credentials speak for themselves, but he's an equally impressive person on a personal level. He's always willing to help locally in town or in school, and he's also a member of Rotary Youth for a Better World District 7475 Interact Council of New Jersey. Our December Student of the Month, Parth. And to all Wait, we gotta find Mr. Corito over here. It's the elementary. And guys, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. Thank you. I know you're all involved in the musical tryouts and everything else going on this evening.
On behalf of the board, I'm not sure what we could say about the accomplishment these three students have accomplished in just a short period of time. What I can say for myself is that if you make me proud to be part of Roselle Park, for you to come through here to do what you do. I personally thank you. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you again, really. At this time, I'd like to just take a minute. We have another certificate we'd like to give out. So, Matthew?
It's not for me.
Yes, nothing. There you go.
Okay. I haven't seen what this said. Sure. Mr. Peterson, would you please step forward? Okay, so we all know that Saul has been one of the most diligent and prolific meeting attenders in the history of Roselle Park, only by Mr. McGarrett. And we also know that his days with Parker are sadly coming to a close. And we've been so good at recognizing wonderful achievements and service and community activism. And I think we should take a moment and recognize all the work that Saul has done as a citizen, as a journalist, and just a town crier, someone who knows everything that's going on and can help everyone find out what they need to know. So this is a certificate of recognition in recognition of contribution to the district.
Yeah, right.
Can you what? Speech? I think I'm the president.
Is that mic working or?
Yeah, every time you put it in, it turns off.
Hello, okay. So, thank you. Just real quick. It's a very little known fact. The reason all this started with physical activism was because of my son. When we first came here, we came from Elizabeth, and he had been, and everyone knows this, and he's fine with that. He was a special education student, and he was in 8th grade in Elizabeth, and we had our IEP, and we asked, well, what is your plan to have my son be in as many mainstream courses as possible? And the school, I had the three representatives there, and they looked at me, and they didn't know what that meant. They had zero clue. They wanted to babysit my son until he was out of there. So we started looking around, and we came to here. We went to other towns, and the first thing we saw was metal detectors. We had seen them in Cranford, and then my wife had asked, she goes, so what's wrong with the metal detectors? And Kathy McDonald, who was part of the AP group at the time, laughed. And my wife was like, no, we're not kidding, where are your metal detectors? She's like, we don't have any. And she said, we're a small school. And then the first question I asked her when we sat down is, what plan do you have to have our son be in as many mainstream classes as possible? And she said, well, I'm glad you asked me that, because we do have a plan. And for the next 4 years, and which happened to be the same time that Ms. Costa had come in. And it was the last year, I think, when the trailers were going to be gone. And for the next 4 years, our son went from a self-enclosed classroom to having basically all his essentials, math, science, and English, be mainstream. I'll be forever grateful for that. We love this community. I'm a harsh critic, but I criticize it because I love it. I love everything, and I must give commendation to this board. When I first came to meetings, I don't know if it was complacency or anything. Meetings were treated basically like club meetings. You know, it's like things weren't done correctly. But little by little, the board stepped up to the criticism that I gave. And although I still at times disagree, I could be wrong. But everyone from the custodians to board members to Ms. Costa, who I think is an absolute gem to this town, to this community, to these students. We've had two of our children come through here. Both came from pretty horrific backgrounds. And one was a tough guy, and the very first day, he came home and he said, this woman is just on my case. And I said, well, you have to deal with it. And they worked it out. She knows a lot, and she's an asset to this town. And you're all an asset, and I want to thank you for this. And again, the reason I did this was because of my son, and I cared. And I'm glad that, in return, you have cared. I'm glad that, Mr. Miller stepped up from nowhere to ask to be appointed. When I happened to write an article about the fact that there was an opening, that people have come in and said that. So I appreciate that from all of you, and even when I criticize you, and it's the actions I've been talking about, not the person. I don't think any of you are malicious, or I think you're all just people who are trying your best. And I want to commend you and all the board members, and Ms. Costa, I know you're fantastic. And the students, Ms. Tribbiano, who was part of the debate club, who sat and asked questions to people who are going to run this government. I always thought the youth of this town is an undervalued asset. And I thank the board that they realize that they are an asset. They are the future and they are our present. So with that said, I thank you all.
Okay, at this time we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Mr. Reno.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Good evening, everyone. It's so wonderful to hear the accomplishments of our students. And Mrs. Costa, thank you for giving the students the recognition that they deserve. There's so much that is going on here, and when you walk through the halls of this high school, and now the STEAM wing that's going to be ready very soon, it is such a pleasure and it's such an honor to be part of this wonderful, wonderful adventure that we have here, and is all for our students. I just wanted to remind the board and the public about some important days that are coming up. Our CUSAC, which is the monitoring system that the state uses, is coming in on December 12th to do an interim review. And I just want the public and the board to know, we just received scores for this year. Obviously, the last school year, so it was 17-18. Our scores are very encouraging, although we are not getting a full CUSAC review this year. We are certainly in a good place now, and it seems that the growth our students are making continues to move up in both math and our ELA. So we're very happy. We're welcoming the county superintendent and the educational specialist to come in on December 12th to hear all these great things that are going on in the district, from pre-K through 12. And preschool or pre-K is what I want to talk about. We're finally ready for pre-K classes. Our grants are here. We have already hired the teachers that will be in those preschool classrooms. And we're having an open house next Thursday, December 13th, for the parents who qualified, or those parents that were selected to have their students here. So we're very excited. It's at 6 p.m. A flyer will be sent out to those parents, and we're looking forward to having those little ones here in Robert Gordon and Aldine, because that's where we found space for the preschool. We're so proud. Those students are going to get, once again, a gift that they surely deserve. And we're very happy, and we're very proud, and we're very enthusiastic that we received the grant. We were definitely fortunate to receive the grant. As Mrs. Costa mentioned, our STEAM lab is almost ready, not fully, but we are going to have an open house, ribbon cutting, and reception on Thursday, January 10th. There will be a flyer that's going to be posted on the website. It's going to be sent out. It's open to whoever wants to come. Our students who were originally responsible and really should take over responsibilities, we're hoping that they will be here. They're going to be home from college, those that worked on it, on the plans, and we're going to be giving tours. We'll have a reception. We'll show off what we have for such a small district here and what an experience our students are going to have. Just remember, the past 3-4 years, our students have done so well in the TSA competition, national competition. Imagine what they're going to do now that they have these wonderful educational, instructional spaces to do more. So we're very proud of that. As Mr. Langang mentioned, the holiday concerts, Mr. Cancino actually, are ongoing starting this week and next week. They are posted on our calendars, so please see our talent out there in those concerts. The music staff does a wonderful job in working with the students, and they present a really, really top-notch program for the audience. So with that, I want to make sure we are going to be discussing whether there's going to be a meeting on the 18th or not, but if there is not going to be, I want to wish everyone happy holidays at this time. So please continue to support our district, our school. We certainly, as Mrs. Costa mentioned, we see in every building that we are in, there are a lot of great things going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rito. This time, if you want to take a 2-minute break, if any of the children want to leave, you're gone? Oh, you're all after. Okay, you're gone. Okay, we'll just keep on moving on here then. All right. At this time, we'll move into the item 1 on the agenda, which is under policies. And it's the first reading of district policy, first reading of 5330, and this is on administrating an opioid antidote. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I'm sorry?
Second, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, any discussion on it? If not, roll call, please.
Vice President Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Cancino,
Yes.
Mr. Girton,
Yes.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Mr. Langang,
Yes.
Ms. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Sekou,
Yes.
Mr. Signorello,
Yes.
President Harms.
Yes,
On roll call, motion carries.
thank you. We move into consent agenda under personnel. 2 through 8. 2, district substitutes. 3, staff retirement. 4, staff resignations. 5, staff appointments. 6, additional high school athletic proctor and middle school club advisor for 2018-2019. Additional elementary lunch proctor.
Original. Okay. And number 8, change of assignments and transfers. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I would like to thank Mrs., well, for both the retirements, thank both Mrs. Gershio and Mrs. Blatt. But Mrs. Gershio, thank you for your service to the district. I know you've spent your entire career here. Not too long ago, I sat across the desk from you as you were teaching me. Sorry. But
I'm 10 years older than you. That was punishment.
I'm 10 years older than you. But thank you for your service to the district and much happiness in a well-deserved retirement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gerton.
And I guess we're just lucky it's going to be a long goodbye. We still have 6 months of you to help us make a transition to the year.
I will do my best.
I'm gonna wait until the 6 months to say goodbye to her, because maybe she'll change her mind. Yeah, I said, well, we talked one into doing it, maybe talk another one into it. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? Oh, is it roll call?
Yeah.
I'm still around here, real quick.
Oh, okay, I had to go back to the original one. It wasn't on the,
Well, you don't want the whole thing reprinted.
Yeah, I know. All right. You put me in my place. Okay, roll call.
Vice President Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Cancino,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Mr. Hemingway.
Yes.
Well, we lost you there. Mr. Lange,
Yes?
Ms. Powers. Yes. Mr. Sekou,
Yes.
Mr. Signorello.
Yes.
President Harms.
Yes, with a heavy heart for the retirement.
On roll call, motion carried.
Next on the agenda, under education, items 9 through 12. 9, education program. 10, educational trip request. 11, bus evacuation drills. 12, workshop attendance request. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Comments? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. We didn't have to have a roll call that time. I know, everybody was waiting. Okay. Next on the agenda is business, 13 through 19. 13, monthly certifications. 14, monthly transfers. 15, approval of bills. 16, use of buildings and grounds. 17, winter sports schedule. 18, secretary treasury report. 19, approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments?
Mr. President, I will be abstaining from item 19B. Was in attendance at the meeting.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'd like to abstain from item number 19A, November 6th.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, I need to abstain from 19A as well.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Mr. Signorella has to abstain from A.
Okay, so we should have 5 votes left.
Mr. President, I need to abstain from number 19A as well.
Yeah, there was 4. We should have 5 left. Because we did have a quorum that night. Okay. Anybody else says that, then we can't have a vote. But anyhow, we're all right. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the 5?
Aye.
Anyone of the 5 opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll go into any continuing business. Hearing none on the continuing business, I'll move into new business. And what I'd like to bring up on the new business, again, because mine is, bring yours up.
I'm just having a farewell and thing, and I want to thank the board, but you can go first.
Oh, okay. Well, let's find out if we have a meeting or not.
Oh, yes.
Okay? We'll do mine first, okay? If we have a meeting the 18th, you can come on back. All right, if we don't, then you can say goodnight. All right, no. I don't, usually we have, a vote on if we think we need a meeting on the 18th. Anybody have any suggestions on what you'd like to do? I'm not sure there's anything pressing. I went over with the superintendent. At this point right now, there really isn't anything pressing, but unless you think there might be some, I would suggest that we not have a meeting. Any comments to that?
Mr. President, I'd make a suggestion that you, the board, the superintendent, and Mrs. Gershaw, if you need necessary, call the meeting and give us a couple of days' notice. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, understand. Yes.
So we need 48 hours. So if something, so what you're suggesting, Mr. Cigarella, is that if within 48 hours, if there's need something, we post, we send out an email to all board members that we have a meeting.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a
Suggestion.
second to that?
Sounds good, I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Anybody else have anything they might want to do?
So, can I clarify?
Yes, sir?
So on the agenda, we're stating that the next meeting is on Tuesday the 8th. Rather, we're going to say the next meeting will be on December, whatever that is, 18th. Whereas it could be canceled 48 hours in advance. Or are you stating it the other way around?
No, we're saying we're canceling the meeting for December 18th.
Okay, all right. I'm just
And then if we come up with the superintendent, the business administrator, and myself, come up with a need to have it, we have to give 48 hours notice, and then we would send the board members an email stating there'd be a meeting.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other?
So now, yeah, Mr. Moore.
Okay.
So now, I'd just like a couple of quick.
Before that, we didn't take a vote yet.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
If there's no other comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The meeting of the December 18th meeting is canceled at this time. We will send out notice within 48 hours to publish it, and then we'll have all the board members notified if there is a meeting. Okay, thank you. Any comments under new business?
Yes.
Yes, I have a comment.
Yes.
This is my last board meeting. This will be my last board meeting, and since this is my last board meeting, I would like to publicly thank my wife, Woman Temple Seku, my daughter.
Excuse me. All right. My daughter, Naira Camposeco, my son, Kamal Camposeco, for allowing me to be a part of the Roselle Park Board of Education. Also, I would like to thank all the board members who volunteer their time to make decisions that will make a positive impact on the education of all Roselle Park students. In addition, I want to thank the administrative leadership team, Pedro Guerrero and Suzanne Gershio, for being available all times to answer all questions. Thank you very much. Plus, I want to thank the great Jacob Majera for opening up the public session with his timely, probing questions. Thank you, sir. Also, I want to thank Saul Kursden, who writes, asks questions, and requests documents in order to inform and educate Roselle Park residents. Thank you for all you have done over the years. Appreciate it. By the way, in order for us to do what we do, and in order for Saul to do what he does, I have to thank Elizabeth Kursden for allowing Saul to write, ask questions, and request documents in order to inform and educate Roselle Park residents. Now, I also want to thank the Roselle Park residents for educating, counseling, listening, opening up their doors, and inviting me into their homes when I went door to door to ask for their votes. Most of the board members, I met them in that fashion. When I went door to door, I spoke with people whose families have been here for decades and people who have recently arrived. I spoke to Black, white, Hispanic, and Asian people, plus people from different religious and economic groups. I spoke to seniors and young people, and I found out everyone wanted the same thing, a great educational system. We may not agree on how to pay for that great educational system, but we all want a great educational system that will benefit the entire community. So being that such a diverse group of people agree on a fundamental thing, let's also agree that diversity is good for our community. So as the Roselle Park School District and communities becoming more diverse racially and with different language groups, Let us all welcome this diversity. Let the school be diverse in hiring practices, whether it's Black, Hispanic, Asian, teachers and administrators. These are just some of the wonderful groups and cultures that make up our great community. Let the town be diverse by electing diverse people, and also diversity in gender by electing women more often as on council and ultimately as more mayors. Plus, allow more racial, language, and gender diversity amongst those who are appointed to different positions in the town. But overall, let us all be neighborly and kind to each other, regardless of race, religion, immigration status, language that we speak, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. We have the ability to be a beacon and a light regardless of the rancor and acrimony that happens nationally. So let's be free of all preconceived notions about people and show what we're capable of becoming. So on that note, thank all of you, thank Saul, thank Jake, thank all the board members, and thank everyone for sitting here, for allowing me to sit here. Thank you.
Mr. President, I also have a few things to say. First off, I want to thank everyone, but before I get into that, I have to share some rather sad news. One of our town members is going through a hard time right now. He has acquired a brain tumor. He has served with me on the Citizens Advisory Committee when I first started on this board. His name is Mr. Guillermo Rocha. He is also one of the coaches that I've had the privilege of working with. I've known him for many years. His son is on my soccer team as well. So any bit helps at this current moment. There is a GoFundMe page that you can look it up. It's for Guillermo Rocha. If you need any translation or if you need any help with it, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll most surely direct you to that link. Now, good evening, everyone. I would like to begin by saying that these 3 years on the Board of Education have certainly been an eye-opening experience for me. We have seen much change over my time with the board and can proudly say I have served on this board to the best of my ability. I would like to begin to thank Superintendent Garrido, Ms. Gershio, President Harms, and Vice President Miller, along with the rest of my current and past board members for all of the help and guidance I have received from everyone. I would also like to thank the citizens of Roselle Park, because if it was not for them, none of this would be able to happen. I also encourage the youth of our community to step up and serve. I am glad to have served this board not only as one of the youngest members in our town, but to proudly say the first Hispanic to have won a seat on this board. I have not graduated from this high school no more than 5 years ago. With this, I say thank you for the privilege to improve our children's youth and make Roselle Park an even better place to live. Thank you.
All right, Mr. President, Troy here down at the end.
I see you down here, Mr. President.
Thank you. Just wanted to take a minute this too is my last board meeting. Chose not to go for re-election. Maybe I can ask Saul. I was trying to figure out the other day how long I had been on the board, whether it was 7, 8, or 9 years. Not sure what it is. It was a good time. I want to thank, the remaining board members from when I got on here. You guys kind of showed me the ways, told me to keep my mouth quiet for the first couple of weeks at least. But most importantly, to learn and observe. Been on here a long time, and I have learned and observed. We've had many challenges within the district that we've overcome as a board, as an administration, and certainly the staff is always helping to lead the way. I think back when I came on the board here, we had just started recovering from the cuts of 2010, 2011 that were statewide, right? So it was trying to figure out we had survived those financial cuts, but then it was, how do we continue on educating? And a lot of good suggestions came forward. During this time, we've had
new superintendent, many new principals, and a lot of changes. And some challenges along the way, you know, the infamous lights that came down in the early childhood center and stuff. So, you know, and all the while, the board has been made up of volunteers. The public has come here at each board meeting. Sometimes it's been a light attendance, other times it's been packed auditoriums. But, you know, it truly is government at work, right? To have the voice of the people. I've been honored to be on the board, and thank you.
Mr. President, now just a couple short things. No. I'd like to thank Mrs. Gershio for putting up maybe Jake and Sal can, well, I'm not sure you needed Sal, but the handrail coming in the steps. If anybody knows Jake, and my dad will appreciate it. I think he has to come here this week, and a couple of the other statesmen. But I appreciate the handrail that was installed outside the theater coming up. It makes it a little easier for a couple steps. And I'd like to thank the 3 past members for their time. I've dealt with them when I started getting involved. Mr. Gurton a couple years ago, Mr. Jada and Kevin. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and stay involved, and maybe take a year or 2 off and come back. But thank you from Jose.
At this time, there's no other new business. We'll move into the second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward, state your name and address, and each person has 3 minutes to speak.
Monica Carl, 19 Charles Street. I want to know why my child attends, and you know what's coming, the Union County Vocational Technical Schools, and she was shoved on a bus today and basically sat on the floor on the way home because you only provided 2 buses. Do not put my child's safety at risk. No, I'm telling you, this is the first time you're going to get this. The next time I'm going to seek outside counsel. You put my child at risk.
Mrs. Carl, this afternoon was the first time I hear about this. I looked into it immediately.
Well, I'm sorry, but I've heard that this has happened over the years, and
Yes.
you've known about this happening before, and you have done nothing to stop it from happening again. I am aggravated and angry right now.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. However, we've always been very careful, making sure that the bus drivers and the supervisor in the mornings takes a head count, and in the afternoon to make sure that each student has a seat on the bus.
Well, now if my child's sitting on the floor, she doesn't have a seat on the bus.
And we'll look into that and we'll make sure that
Where
it's
was
not
the
happening.
third bus? I want to know. Where was the third bus when they picked them up?
It was decided that the third bus was not needed at the time because there was not enough students to fill the 3 buses.
So there was enough students to get on 3 buses this morning to go to school, but there weren't enough students to fill 3 buses coming home.
Again, this is the first time I hear about it.
But you just gave me an answer, and
Yes.
apparently you're stating it like you know that that's fact.
Again, I will look into it. I will make sure that every student has a seat and is safe on the buses.
Because next time, I'm not coming here. I will go for outside help. Because what you're doing is wrong. And I'm going to look to see if it's even legal, because I'm not going to stop here tonight.
As I mentioned, we will look into it, and if we need another bus to return the students, we will do that.
You do, and I don't want to hear that it was used for sports.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Karen Donnelly, 345 East Lincoln Avenue. I want to wish everyone farewell who is leaving, moving on, retiring. I also want to thank you for honoring the Students of the Month. I also would like to thank you for changing the arrival time for the inclement weather days for the middle school. I think it's going to be a huge improvement with traffic and safety, so I know that was one of my concerns. I also still have a concern about district course, and I know we had spoken at the last meeting I was here about it being dissolved, and that Mr. Garrido, you had suggested that there might be some kind of dialogue between you and Mr. Lukowski about possibly, coming to a remediation. So I wanted to know, has that occurred? Is that something that's going to happen in the future?
It's a discussion, and we're certainly looking into it. We want to do what's best for the students, and that's definitely a discussion.
Okay, and also, has there been any progress in hiring a replacement for Mrs. Nociolo, who is the AP statistician teacher at the high school, who's going on maternity leave starting January, moving into the, and she will be gone for the rest of the year?
There's a plan to have a qualified, highly qualified teacher in that class that would teach statistic honors. It's-
Actually, I announced it at the PTA meeting
Oh,
on Monday,
thanks.
so if you want to talk to me later, you're welcome to do that.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Oh, the other thing is, the orientation that you guys have for the 8th graders coming into the high school, January is too late. I think it needs to be a little bit earlier. If you want to maintain these kids and not have them go to Kent Place and to Seton Hall Prep and get on the buses to go to Magnet, I think you need to have your 8th grade orientation much sooner than January, because I know a lot of students have already applied to these private and individual high schools. And it's so important to retain your students. My daughter's had a wonderful 4 years here, and it's magnificent. And I would just hope that everyone could benefit from it. And, you know, we want to retain our kids. And I think by showing them how positive Roselle Park High School is, you might be able to retain some more students. Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you, good point. We're looking for it for next year, if we go too early, or late now, because it's already scheduled, but Scott, maybe we can look into that for next year. Thank you. Anyone else?
Sandra Barnett, 638 Sherman Avenue. Mr. Garrido, I spoke to you briefly today. I looked up the NHTSA. My daughter's telling me that up to 4 children are sitting on these seats for the school district. And it says generally they fit 3 smaller elementary school age persons or 2 adult high school age persons into a typical 39-inch school bus. That's from their website. 3, even 4 children are sitting on these seats. That's unacceptable. And I know you said you were going to look into it, but I really hope, because my daughter's a junior at UC Tech, and this has been going on for years. It's not the first time she's complained about it. My daughter has sat on the floor. So whether the bus drivers know about it or not, I don't know. And I'm going to tend to believe my daughter. So, yeah, I don't really think the bus drivers, I mean, they have to get from point A to point B. I don't really think they really care who's sitting on top of who, where the backpacks are. And that's a huge liability. If that bus gets into an accident, it's a huge liability. So please, look into that.
Ms. Bartlett, can I ask you a question? Those buses, you mean the 39-foot buses you're talking about?
The width of the seat.
Oh, the width
Yeah, the width of the seat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But the capacity is 54 students, correct, on those buses?
On the new buses, yes, it's 54 students.
Now, is that 54 elementary or 54?
54 students.
54 students?
54 students.
And what is the total number that goes over there?
They counted 84, and there were 106, I believe 106 seats in the buses.
So, yeah, okay, so I mean, obviously, I mean, you'd think math, I mean, that would fit everybody. I mean, unfortunately, when your daughter had that experience, did she notice like there was like one kid occupying like one seat, or one student occupying like one seat?
No, there's no seats. But you know what? I'm going to make it a point when I drop her off in the morning, I'm going to get on that bus.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see what those seats are like. Because I teach in Union County, and I know I've gone with the children in elementary school to their class trips, and 3 small children fit in those seats.
Right.
Not 3 adults. So when I drop her off tomorrow morning, I'm going to go in and I'm going to check out the seats. And all I know is what she's telling me, that there's 3 and 4 kids crammed up, and she was sitting on somebody's lap today. She got out of that bus and she was huffing and puffing. I knew something was wrong. And I go, what's the matter? She goes, we were crammed like sardines. I go, where's the other bus? She goes, there is no other bus. There's only 2. I said, but 3 left. How did 2 only come back? She goes, sports. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
thank you for extending the additional time to the two young ladies that were just up here. Hindsight, Board of Education had purchased the Adace building when they had the opportunity to. Number two, time limit should be extended to 7 minutes. To quote Graham Ledger of One American Network, when I am wrong, I am right.
Sounds like my wife.
Say what?
Sounds like my wife. But she's wrong, she's right anyhow.
I know Mrs. Hom, she's a nice lady.
Thank you, Mr. Ruggiero.
Thank you to Mr. Seiko. And I'd like to thank my friend Sal Kirsten. I'd like to thank him for being my friend. Roseville Park will not be the same. And with the change of the guard on the Board of Education, trusting we will be more compassionate when a person comes up here and has a problem. To quote some intelligent man, politician, he said to the council, you, work for us, the taxpayer. And you folks that are on the board, you, and you work for the taxpayer. You don't get paid, but you spend tax money. If you go back to 1989, take a look at the Board of Education minutes. Who attended the meetings and who supported the Board of Education. And I was one of the guys on council that attended the Board of Education meetings. Ladies and gentlemen, the audience, viewing audience, members of the board, Mrs. Gershio, Mr. Guarrido, and Mr. President Harms, good night.
Good night. Thank you, Mr. Ruggiero. Anyone else? Tribbiani. Okay, well. Okay. You're on record. You're on record, Mr. Ruggiero. We'll put it in the recording. Well, we'll put it in. You congratulated now that we could. Okay. I'm closing the public portion.
Mr. President?
Yes.
And just a thought or an observation in hearing the couple people that came forward about the buses. I will not try to keep up with Mr. Miller's math, but it seems like it's not an issue of capacity on all buses coming back in the afternoon. I'm just wondering if it could be a logistics problem where we're crowding one bus and another bus is less than full. I don't know how that can be monitored. Other than head count or counting them out as they come onto the bus. But it just seems like if in fact we have potentially people on the floor, that seems like that bus is over that 54, 56, right? So that math will tell us that either we have people on the bus that don't belong on the bus and they're getting a ride back with their friends, or the other bus is coming back empty. So just a thought there, right? Maybe we look into it. And do we still run a bus midday, like bringing people back? And does that have a negative?
Yes.
After-
So that reduces some of the kids coming back in the afternoon, right?
Right.
Okay.
Not the same.
So that has to go back into that equation as well, with the math problem that's more.
Okay, at this time, I want to personally thank Mr. Sunjata, Mr. Consino, and Mr. Girton. For the past 3 years, and Mr. Girton longer, I've had the privilege of serving with them on the board. I personally want to thank you for all your dedication to the students, the staff, all the time you put in, away from your families and all. Again, thank you. And maybe you consider taking a sabbatical for about a year and then coming back. But again, thank you very much. To everyone else, I want to wish a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas to all, to the board members, and also to everybody a very happy and safe New Year. Hope everything you wish for comes through. I'm wishing for a lot, and nothing's come through yet. But again, thank you for everything. At this time, accept the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I'm opposed. Good night, everyone, and again, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.